待った、ごめん。
待った待った。
I've watched this like 100 times. Side characters in anime perform a tricky balancing act because if they're too one-dimensional, they'll break your immersion with the show. Because anytime you see the smart otaku with glasses or the ditzy blonde girl or your garden variety tsundere, it pulls you right out of the story because normal people don't act like this. But if you make your side characters too interesting, you make them too compelling, you make them too likable, then you run into the exact opposite problem, where they run away with the entire show, which is exactly what happened with the most popular romance anime that aired last season. Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, where Alya, the main character, somehow became the least popular girl on her own show, partly owing to some fantastic side characters and this gremlin of a sister Yuki, who completely took over. And she was so popular, it got me thinking, what goes into writing a side character like Yuki? Because the author clearly did not intend for this. So in this video, we're gonna break down the science of what goes behind writing a fantastic side character through the lens of Alya and other great examples. So Alya Hides Her Feelings in Russian is about this half-Russian tsundere Alya, who's head over heels for her classmate Kuze. The whole show is about her flirting with him in Russian, with moments like
Milashka,
which is basically audible candy. Alya thinks she's trolling him, but what she doesn't know is that Kuze is fluent in Russian, and her words are killing him with cuteness. But things really get going when we meet Yuki, who's Kuze's childhood friend and a prim and proper lady. An image that's soon shattered when we find out that Yuki is actually Kuze's biological sister. And why is she lying about being childhood friends? Well, it's simple. Yuki enjoys the chaos. Because contrary to her prim and proper persona, Yuki is an absolute degenerate. She passionately preaches to Kuze about the most unhinged topics like she also pranks the poor man by hiding under his bed and pulling on his legs, laughing maniacally. No one, and I mean no one, is safe from Yuki's chaos. She innocently invites Alya to lunch, not mentioning that they're going to the ramen place from hell, fully knowing that Alya cannot handle the heat. And it's because of moments like this that I, alongside the audience, fell in love with Yuki's character. And it has to be said that her voice actress is giving the performance of a lifetime. But what no one mentions is how good Yuki's writing is, because writing a character like Yuki is not easy. Main characters have the benefit of time. The author has the entirety of the show to flesh out these characters. But side characters like Yuki are fighting for scrap, so you have to make sure every scene and dialogue counts. This is why I love Yuki's introduction, because setting her up as the prim and proper lady, only to have that subverted in the very next scene, caught my attention. Often with side characters, what you see is what you get, so this is a much welcome departure. However, her scenes with Kuze are what really sold me, because we all know what it feels like to have that one friend with whom we can talk about anything. I have a friend group where we talk about the nastiest, most inappropriate topics you can think of. I'm pretty sure if our logs got leaked, we'd end up in prison. But some of the best times of my life are when I'm talking about dumb things with my friends. And that's the energy I feel when I see Kuze and Yuki's interactions. Everything from their inside jokes, to them talking about anime and manga, to them making fun of each other. I've felt that before. I have it with my friends when we're all up at Discord at 5 a.m. in the morning. Writers often think that making a character relatable is giving them traits that the audience has. Like, hey, I'll make my character an otaku. Surely fellow otaku will relate to that, right? Nope, that's not how it works. That's why you have a sea of bland isekai protagonists that no one cares about or can even tell apart. And Yuki and Kuze's dynamic is how you establish relatability. You don't tell the audience that you're relatable, you show it to them. But alongside relatability, Yuki solves another major problem for the show, because Alya suffers from the same disease that plagues most rom-com anime, a boring plot. Alya is your typical high school romance with student council drama and debates no one cares about. The entire story is about Alya wanting to be the student council president, but she's completely useless, so Kuze has to carry her. And Kuze's entire persona is that of the lazy dude who's secretly OP, and their main competition is Yuki. Along the way, Kuze gets sick, so we have the mandatory episode where Alya has to take care of him, and it's really adorable. However, Yuki also sends over her attendant who spikes Kuze's drink with sleeping pills. So while Kuze is out, Yuki takes advantage of Alya because she's completely helpless and tanks their reputation for the election. And this sequence of events is without a doubt the only standout moment in Alya's entire story, which showcases a crucial trait for any well-written side character: agency. Agency is a character's ability to meaningfully influence a story. Whenever you feel like an anime would be better off without a certain character, it's because they have no meaningful agency. It feels like an author lazily tacking on more characters to make the world feel full without making them an actual part of the world. Which is not the case with Yuki at all, because she's the one making things happen by introducing the only bit of narrative tension, allowing both Kuze and Alya to shine. Yuki gets a lot of flack for being popular with degenerates, but if you look under the hood, her writing is great, and it's no surprise she was the best girl last season. But relatability and agency aren't the only ways a supporting character can shine. Using side characters as a catalyst for your main character's growth is an organic way to make them feel like a part of the world. Unfortunately, I cannot use Alya as an example because there is not a speck of character development in sight. So I want to talk about a romance anime that is criminally underrated: A Galaxy Next Door. We follow the story of Ichiro, whose world turns upside down the day his father passes away. He's now tasked with taking care of his younger siblings, Maki and Fumio, while he works a notoriously unstable profession, being a mangaka. But Ichiro is determined to support his siblings and send them to college, but he copes with his trauma by burying himself in work. He switches up his style from drawing shonen manga that he loves to drawing shoujo manga, which is far more lucrative. And he becomes fiercely independent, refusing help from anyone, because if he can't do this all on his own, then how are his siblings ever gonna rely on him? Because deep down Ichiro knows that he can't provide his siblings the safety his father could. But Fumio and Maki aren't oblivious. They know their brother is working himself into an early grave for their sake. It makes them feel guilty because they think it's their fault that Ichiro is shouldering everything. So the siblings find any way they can to support their brother, be it words or through the kindness of others. But the guilt weighs down on them episode after episode, manifesting in some depressingly realistic moments. One that hit me hard is when we see Maki and Fumio hang out with other kids at the park. And they turn down fun activities like trips and vacations because they know it's gonna be a financial burden. Maki even refuses to hang out at her friend's place because she doesn't want to worry Ichiro. And when all of this comes to light, it crushes Ichiro because the reason he's working so hard is because he never wants Maki or Fumio to worry. Ichiro wants them to have a normal childhood, but by taking on too much, he became the source of their stress. This touching moment allows the siblings to sit down and have an honest conversation, where they decide to share the responsibility threefold, with Ichiro taking on the bigger piece, rather than one person taking it all on their own and the others feeling guilty. Often kid siblings in anime are played off for laughs or used as some sort of comic relief. But A Galaxy Next Door makes fantastic use of its side characters, no matter how small, to give us a touching moment of growth for everybody involved. And on the topic of romance anime, a great use of side characters is the side couple. They flesh out the anime's world while adding another source of wholesomeness. And the anime My Senpai is Annoying has one of my favorite examples, Kazama and Sakurai. The two complement each other beautifully because Sakurai is the social butterfly that everyone admires, while Kazama is the antisocial gamer who keeps to himself but secretly looks out for others. However, what makes the relationship feel real is how it's slowly built up over time because it's not any one big romantic gesture or event, but small moments peppered throughout every episode. Like Sakurai asks Kazama out to dinner, so Kazama asks her out on a date. Kazama teaches Sakurai's younger brother how to play basketball, so Sakurai makes them sandwiches and keeps them company. And to thank him, she invites him to spend time with her on New Year's. And over time, they become more comfortable with each other, and rather than tiptoeing like before, they're able to express how much they like each other. It's a nice, wholesome romance that doesn't feel forced and seamlessly blossoms over the show's run. And even though Sakura and Kazama are nowhere near the focus of the show, years later, I still remember these two. Because that's the impact well-written side characters can have. If done right, they fill a show's universe with memorable individuals that make it feel full of life and make a show well worth watching.